Back to Sinn Féin now and Deputy Pauline Tully.
The last 6 months have been extremely difficult for a lot of businesses, and business owners and employees recognise they had a part to play in flattening the curve, and I know there were supports put in place at that time. I suppose as restrictions were lifted, we've seen some business in a position to reopen, but in many cases they still need supports, and others are as yet unable to open, and many people are still out of work with no prospect of returning anytime soon. Now, one such sector which has little prospect of returning anytime soon is Ireland's entertainment and hospitality sector. So we have hundreds of theatres and venues and clubs, festivals, events of all sizes. They've been silent since March. And the entertainment industry employs more than 35,000 people between full and part-time workers. The vast majority of these people haven't had any employment since March 12th. They were the first industry to shut and will most likely be the last one to fully reopen. The event sector alone directly contributes over 3.5 billion to the national economy, and it is estimated that for every euro spent on a ticket for an event, an additional €6 is spent in the wider tourist economy. So up until recently, they've been totally ignored. They received virtually no government aid. The workers and their dependents desperately require serious government support to survive, and the workers at all levels of this sector have no prospects of earning a living in the foreseeable future. So the supports need to be appropriate in order to address the dire financial situation facing almost every single person and business in this sector. Like we've discussed on several times here, how important for everyone that good mental health is and how seriously it has been impacted by the COVID crisis. Music and entertainment are so important in the role they play in contributing to good mental health. And as it is the people in this sector who normally bring such joy to us who are suffering now. So at a minimum, they need the immediate reinstatement of the wage subsidy scheme or the pandemic unemployment payment at the full rate per week, until the sector is allowed to return to work, because it is fully closed by government under public health advice at present. Another example of a small business which is suffering currently is the dry cleaning and laundry business. There's many SMEs that are suffering, we know, but this is one example because they are heavily linked to both the hospitality and tourism sectors. They should receive, therefore, the same benefits as these sectors, especially in consideration of the fact that most cleaners report that between 60 to 80% of their work comes from these sectors. Now, these businesses remained open during the lockdown, but many of the businesses that they rely on for work were closed. And cancelled functions has impacted on this industry, such as weddings or graduations, etc. Working from home has actually impacted on them because a lot of their industry are reporting a decrease in footfall from walk-in customers. They've lost more from sales from corporate bodies as well, who are getting uniforms cleaned, etc. So they're another sector that needs some support. So I'm asking you to consider formally aligning this industry with the hospitality and tourism sector, and any rescue packages given to those should be also given to this industry. Many Indigenous SMEs depend on trade fairs and exhibitions for product testing and for future sales. And for some businesses, these events are the only place they get to meet their customers face to face. Now, I've been ensured that trade fairs and exhibitions can recommence in a safe and responsible manner. They've informed me they have full contact details for all attendees. They have large venues, they have multiple exit or entrance points, and it's not a social event, so the attendees can be staggered and allocated time slots. Additionally, they have specific health and safety protocols drawn up by the Irish Exhibition Organisers Association for all event organisers to put into effect. That includes temperature testing and isolation rooms, and these protocols have already been the subject of detailed consultation with the HSA. I've been informed the majority of these events in the rest of Europe are already back in operation or have been given a commencement date by their respective government for when operations can commence. And through this network, the event organisers here are learning of the many successful approaches to running safe and responsible events. So I'm just asking you to consider that as well, please. COVID-19 means business are operating under uncertainty and with considerable economic challenges, and the SME and the micro-enterprise businesses are facing disastrous consequences as we head into winter. The SME sector employs 63% of people working in Ireland, and it's going to have a catastrophic 2020. And they need a clear strategy outlined by government so that they know what will occur should restrictions be reimposed. And we know that's possible for many businesses as we approach winter. So there's no room for ambiguity. They need to know what the right decisions should be, that they can be certain of and that they can trust in what the government's response will be.